Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dr. Terri Show. Today's episode is really special, not just because of the topic, but because of the guest. I'm joined today by my amazing husband, Dan Denai, and we're pulling back the curtain and having an honest conversation about something most couples don't talk about, but absolutely should. We're talking about hormone optimization for men. The symptoms no one connects to hormones, the resistance guys often feel, and the massive changes that happen when you finally get things balanced. Dan has lived it, I've treated it, and together we're here to share what we've learned, not just as clinician and patient, but also as a couple. In this episode, you're going to learn why so many men are walking around with symptoms they don't even realize are hormonal or testosterone deficiency, like poor sleep, brain fog, low energy, mood swings, joint pain, difficulty handling stress. Think grumpy old men. Why first responders, military, law enforcement, high-stress professionals need to take hormone health very, very seriously. The emotional and relational tension men feel when they want to start therapy, but fear that an increased libido might create more distance in a struggling marriage. We're going to talk about that. And why optimizing hormones as a couple can be one of the most powerful tools for restoring intimacy, connection, and communication. You'll hear Dan's personal story, what made him finally say yes to hormone therapy. It took me a couple of years, how it changed the way he felt and what it's done for our relationship. And spoiler alert, it's not just about sex, although we do talk about sex. It's about showing up with more clarity, energy, confidence, and presence. So whether you're a guy who's curious, a wife who's wondering, or a couple navigating disconnection, this episode will give you real insight, practical takeaways, and a fresh vision for what's possible. Let's talk about why men need hormone optimization and how it could be the key to unlocking your marriage, your mind, and your mission. Here's our conversation. Dan Denai, he's back.
That is I.
Oh, rhymed. So we haven't talked about...
I was thinking about becoming like a rapper. No?
Do it.
Probably
Let's
not.
see. What do you
No,
got?
I'm just thinking about it. I'm not going to do it.
Right, stick to what you're good at.
Okay. All right. That's a good idea.
We haven't talked about hormones in a while. It's been a long time.
Well, you have, but
I have, but
you
we
and I
haven't.
together, we're kind of the hormone couple, right?
Yes, exactly.
So we're teaching lots of people about hormones and lots of doctors and lots of nurse practitioners and a lot of other medical providers about it.
Yep.
And so, but you and I haven't sat and just talked about just, hormone rap for a while. So there it is, the rap.
Yeah, we
again.
should create a hormone rap. God,
No,
it would be
no,
embarrassing.
no,
No,
not
don't
good.
do it. Yeah, so I think it's fun to get into the conversation from a male perspective, because one of the things that we hear all the time, and you know this, is you'll see guys in the gym and you'll talk to them, and why does it take guys a year or more to go do it? And then they come back to you and they say, "Wish I would have done that sooner."
Yeah, we have to think about stuff, and we kind of get stuck in our ways, and we kind of, things are working okay. There's not any, I always have the guys that are like, "Oh, I have no problem in the bedroom, so everything's good," and I'm always like, yeah, that's great. But hormones are so much more than that. I mean, that's like, and I tell people, when you really understand what we're doing with hormone, by the way, huge difference between hormone replacement therapy and hormone optimization therapy, which it's hot versus HRT. So we're really trying to coin that phrase and really get more, because it's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't just replace hormones. We are doing optimization. We are figuring out where people function at their very best.
Absolutely.
And what is interesting is, and again, when guys come to me, I went to my doctor, I got my lab test, he said or she said everything's fine, and
Normal.
I'm within range, and you go into this whole thing on what is range and what is important, what is the appropriate range. Well, the appropriate range is from a guy that's 20 years old or 25 years old to 80 years old.
Yeah, right.
And you could be anywhere in there. So as long as you're in the expected range, you're okay. But
the expected range of a sick, unhealthy American population, might I add.
So what we're talking about when we talk about hormone optimization is my optimum hormone levels are different than lots of other guys that are out there. We might be similar, but it's different. Same thing for women. You see that with, because you're looking at progesterone, you're looking at thyroid, you're looking at other things besides just testosterone and just estradiol and the common HRT hormones.
Well, and when you talk about hormone optimization, a thing that, you don't hear talked about a lot. I mean, we talk about a lot because we teach on it, but it's not just about, giving somebody some hormones, but you have to prep the soil. You have to make sure they've got everything they need for their receptors to work well, for them to metabolize their hormones well. So you're looking at your gut, you're looking at key nutrients like vitamin D, vitamin B, all the thyroid, nutraceuticals that optimize thyroid. And I think that's a key missing part of the whole conversation when, you go to some shot clinics or, just a regular doctor that may just prescribe testosterone to you or whatever. But on some of your guys, I know you've referred a lot of guys to go get checked out. Like, what's the number one thing that they're saying if they finally make it in there, that they say to you?
Well, I want to comment on one thing that you just said regarding, people that are going in and getting shots and stuff like that. Those people feel better.
Yeah,
I mean, they do feel better, but it's the different. It's like, I would say, you can go and watch a junior high school football game, right? And the team may be even pretty good. And they may be kind of enjoyable to watch, but that's a completely different than going and watching an NFL football game. And so I liken what we do to being more advanced, more sophisticated, more the NFL versus the junior high school. Right. Again, you're still playing football. It's just at what level. So that's a difference between HRT and a lot of people going to shot clinics and just getting, which again, that is a part. That is okay, but do you want to be better than okay? I mean, if for most guys, we want to be like, give me the best. I want to feel my best. I want to do my best. I don't want just it's okay. But to answer your question, what people, a lot of times will say to me, guys, especially my age, I'm 55. I talk to guys in the gym all the time. I talk to, just friends, people passing. And I don't like to be the guy that's like, oh my gosh, you got to go do this. This is, I'm not that guy. I do want to I want to help people, but I want to help, like podcasts like this, educate people and then go, logically what he is saying or what she's saying is making a lot of sense. It's backed up by medical studies. It's that, it's very advanced medicine, and therefore making the decision to go ahead and get treated. Well,
what are some of the symptoms that, you've heard guys complain of that they wouldn't even have thought it was hormone driven?
Well, sleep, number one, big thing. I have people that all the time, they're like, man, I can't sleep all, through the night. That's a big thing. Or I wake up and I'm tired. Well, maybe you have sleep apnea, who knows? But a lot of other things happen, when your body is asking for testosterone and it's not there, and you're not getting a hot flash, but you're getting a night sweat. So those types of things. Memory is another big thing. Brain function. Guys, I'm a CEO of a company. You talk to other CEOs or anybody, not just a CEO level, but people that are having to use their brain in a consistent manner and they can't remember things. Right. They're like, I know that person's name, but I can't, come up with it.
Tip of my tongue.
It really frustrates a lot of people. So things like that.
What about moods? What about stress? How does stress show up?
So that's one that I always like to talk about, which is this. For me, and everyone's different. Everyone's symptoms of low testosterone or a hormone imbalance is different. But for me, and you know this from living with me.
That's why I asked.
What happens is when my levels get off or when they get low, kind of get in the tank, I feel like stress is, somebody is like, a face talker, they're getting up in your face, 6 inches away, they have coffee breath, and you're just like, it's very, very hard to deal with. It's the same way with me in stress. It's like the stress is there and it's like in my face. It's very bothersome to me. Like it makes you more agitated.
Like you can't manage it as well.
Yeah. You're just like, it's too much. It's on you too much. It's too close to you. For me, when I get my hormones where I like them and keep them, and that's what I love about pellets is I can get there and I can stay there for a long extent of time. I don't have to worry about taking a shot. I don't have to worry about taking a cream, taking a pill. It's there. I get up in the morning. I'm traveling. I don't have to travel with a shot or this or, anything like that. So that having the pellet there all the time is just so helpful to me. But I'm sitting there experiencing this mindset of being well at all times,
right?
Like not having this stress so what happens is once I get that stress or when my level's right, I'm out here.
Yeah. The stress
is out here.
Yeah.
That's what I mean is I feel like, okay, the stress hasn't gone away. I'm still dealing with everything, but it's now somebody's talking to me from a distance that is actually
you don't smell
comfortable.
Their coffee breath.
I don't smell their coffee breath. I don't feel like they're on top of me. And I'm like, still as much same stress,
right?
But it's out here and I can handle it a lot better.
That is such a good descriptor because so many guys resonate with that.
Absolutely. Because then the stress of the job, now here comes the kids. Now here comes the wife.
Yeah.
Here's all of these things that not the wife and kids are stressful.
No, they're
jobs
stressful.
are stressful. They are. There's an element of that. So that can
relationships. Really.
Yeah, and then you can handle that a lot better, right? You have that information, you have that feeling, and you can deal with this information out here and the stress, but not let it get work you up so much.
Yeah, it's one of our guys that has done a testimonial says, I feel like I'm a better dad. I feel like I'm a better husband. I feel like I'm a better at work with my coworkers just because everything is just.
Well, and I just, you think of the high stress jobs. I think of police officers. I think of firefighters and paramedics and those guys that have to be like first responders. They're in the moment of heated, high stress.
And decision making,
keeping their mind clear and stuff like that. Those guys, I almost think that anybody that's in those categories, it should be like a prerequisite that you have to have hormone optimization.
Tested,
because you're going to function at that job specifically in such a higher level and a more probably safer, probably more just more professional and more efficient in what you're doing. So that is a huge part of having hormones optimized.
Yeah, and another one I hear guys talk about a lot is joint pain. You had talked about that before.
So I played basketball, baseball, and football for pretty much my entire life. And when I started maybe 30 years old, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have my knees replaced. Going up and down stairs was painful. And I started doing hormone pellets, Avexapel, pellets overall when I was 40 years old, and I'm 55. So I've been doing it for 15 years. I can walk up and down stairs. I can do squats. And I don't have the knee pain at all. And again, I don't want to be on here going, oh, just take testosterone and your knee pain will go away. I'm just telling you that where I started, when I was 30 years old, I was terrified that I was not going to be able to walk by the time I was 50. And now I'm 55 and, again, on pellets, going up and down stairs, don't have joint pain, shoulders, same thing. Still bench, still do dumbbell bench, still, do squats,
What are you up to now on your birthday this year?
My birthday. I always have to
bench.
My birthday bench. I always have to do 315 at least one time on the bench press, just to say, yep, I still have my my old man strength. That the kids like to join.
Old man strength.
Old man strength.
I have a patient comes to mind, and that's actually his sign that his hormones have worn off. He plays a lot of basketball currently, and he's in his 50s. And his knees will start hurting. Yeah,
because it's anti-inflammatory,
right?
right? And again, if you have broken down cartilage and stuff like that, I'm not talking about really that.
The other thing too that talk a little bit about. This is another vague thing that guys start to complain about is that just kind of the things that they once liked to do, like golf or fishing or whatever, you just kind of.
Well, it's your zest for life. You talk about hormones, and what the Greek word means, it makes me actually aroused to do something. Right. I'm now active. And a lot of times when your testosterone is low and your energy level is low, and people are like, well, I'm drinking a Monster and I'm drinking Starbucks and I'm taking all this stuff to try to get, and you guys know what happens. You're up good for an hour and a half, and then it's just the crash is down, and you went out and mowed the lawn, and you sweat, and you came on got on the couch, and you couldn't get up for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, so. And it's the grumpy old man syndrome. You guys got a bad rap, but something happens usually when they're 55, not you. but because you're on testosterone. But that's really when testosterone levels start to decline in men in their 40s. And by the time you're in your 50s, it's really getting low.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, because I met you early in my 30s, and then I told you, I was like, when I turn 40, I'll get my labs checked, and I was surprised because my labs were like
500 and something,
mid range
something.
And to tell you, everyone today, I feel really good at like 1100 with my free T on the upper end, an 80th percentile. So it's just so, I say this all the time to people. I don't understand being on pellets for as long as I have. And then if I go too long, I say this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand how people live their life without hormone optimization therapy.
I agree.
And you know what I hear myself saying? Well, those people are miserable.
Yeah, they are.
And those people are the people that are pissed off at life. They're angry with their kids. They're angry with their boss. They're angry with their spouse. And that's why, again, get big picture. That's why the planet's just like going around angry all the time. And you see this road rage and things like that you're just stepping back from and going, we can do a lot better.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we really need to be going down this road like we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, for so many men, they think that you kind of started with this, but I think it's important to talk about because men think if they have a healthy sex drive, which by the way, guys don't really ever lose desire, hardly ever. They have to have really low testosterone. So that
they have the desire, they just don't have the performance.
Yeah, the performance wanes when your testosterone gets low, but it's not about that. I mean, that's just an enhancement of getting your testosterone levels back up. But a lot of guys think, oh, I'm fine in that area. So we got to kind of dispel these myths that testosterone is just about sexual function in men. That is a piece of it, but that is not the piece of it. In fact, when you look at this chart I have in my office, sexual function and desire and libido is the very last thing to go in males. Yeah. But what happens way above that, when the levels are even 800, 700, is risk for Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, all cause of death. And these are the things that I like to really talk about too, because would you agree that men really resonate with their mortality, their ability to protect and provide for their families, and all of the disease process risk that goes up when your testosterone is low? There's an inverse relationship. The lower your testosterone, the higher your risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, strokes, and prostate cancer.
Yeah. So it's kind of I always call it the extrinsic value of testosterone and the intrinsic value of testosterone, or like hormone optimization therapy.
Hot.
It's so hot.
You're so hot.
But you sit there and you go, okay, well, what's the external? What's the tangible versus the intangible? Right. The tangible is I feel better. I'm more alert. I have more energy. I have more brain clarity. I have better erectile function. My mood is more stable. All those things that we've kind of been talking about. But the intangible, right? The internal, I don't know that my bones are now getting thicker. Yeah. They're now actually
your muscle.
My muscles are you might feel muscle, but my brain is being protected. My prostate right now is being protected. Yeah. So these are the things that people forget. Right. That having your hormones up, and that all those things I just mentioned to you, your heart, your brain, your prostate, those are some of the highest diseased organs in the body. Yep. So now all of a sudden you're going, okay, well, this doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. My hormones as I age go down. My disease state goes up. Therefore, the likelihood of me getting one of these dread diseases increases. Right. It's not that hard to figure out. Right. And so what happens, but the media and the naysayers, big pharma, there are a lot of people that really don't want people to understand that hormones really do protect against a lot of different of these diseases and a lot of these sicknesses.
We've got a lot of data.
Oh my gosh. How many do you teach?
Over 10,000 studies in our database.
It's incredible. So it's like if people go, well, there's no studies around that. We probably have 300 for whatever particular you're talking about. But so if we kind of keep that in our mind from a standpoint of what are we trying to do, this goes back to the big picture on the planet. You and I are just trying to get the good word out to help people to understand you don't have to live life the way you've been taught to live life for the last I'll say 30 to 40 years,
Right.
because big pharma has just come in and just ruined and wreaked havoc on people's health. And on, more importantly, well, that's not more importantly, but just as important, is just on the medical community.
Absolutely.
You talk to doctors all the time about this stuff, and they look at you like you're from a different planet, because.
But it resonates in
Oh, no,
deep
no. What I'm
place.
talking about is when you're talking specifics to them,
Right.
and they're like,
Right,
"Well,
right, right.
that's not what we heard in medical school." Well, okay, I know you didn't hear that in medical school, but did you hear this, this, and this?
Right.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that. Well,
Right.
this is actually an AMA published study, or JAMA published study, things like that. So it's just unraveling from a lot of the myths and, as you
Right.
say in your book, myths and misconceptions around hormone therapy, and just how simple it can be if you get with a practitioner that really we've trained,
Right.
they understand it. Our practitioners that provide Avexapel, they are not just trained, they're retrained. They come back at least once a year to get the latest and greatest
we're always updating it.
advancements and
Yep.
things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so important to understand, and this whole conversation between a decline in hormones and a uptick in all-cause mortality, all causes of disease, and things like that. Let's talk a little bit about, from a male perspective, how it's important, how important it is for couples to hot together.
Let's get hot together.
Let's get hot together. It's getting hot in here.
Oh, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Well, this is being videoed as well, right?
Of course.
Wasn't there like a naked podcast or something like that?
The Naked Marriage.
Several years ago. I don't know. Anyway, we probably shouldn't do
Ashley.
that. We probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, what was
They
the
weren't
question?
naked.
Oh, they weren't.
They're
Okay.
talking about naked
No, there was
topics.
a podcast somewhere along the lines that the people were. No, it was Naked News. Remember they used to do Naked
nope,
News. This is
I've
a
never
long
seen
time
Naked
ago.
News. I don't watch the same channels you watch.
I digress, and now we're way off topic.
I don't know. Maybe we should edit some of that out. Anyway.
No, people
leave
find
it in.
that
That's funny.
it's people.
The Naked News?
I think it was the Naked
I'm
News.
gonna search
It was a long time.
I don't know what kind of news you're watching.
Let's not go there. either.
Yeah,
Yes, we are way off topic.
Why
is it
should
important
couples to hot together?
Well, okay, because it's the same reason why. What's a good example? Like, if one person is staying up late all the time and they're sleepy all the time, and then the other person is going to bed early and they wake up feeling rested, and they go throughout the day, and one of the members of the marriage is sleepy and laying on the couch and not doing anything. The other guy or lady is like, all right, let's go. Let's go do this. Let's do that. Let's take the kids here. Well, it doesn't really work that well.
Yeah.
So I use that as just the sleep thing, but it's really the same as hormones, right?
Yeah.
If one feels good and one's ready to,
take on the world,
and, have sex and be intimate. And the other person is like, no.
I'd rather eat my toenails.
Exactly. Or something. That's not good, right? Because then one person is really frustrated because they're like, I feel great, and the other one is not. Now, I would also say, and I don't know, you might disagree with me on this, but if one person, part of the couple says, say the wife says, no, I'm not going to do that, I still wouldn't tell the husband not to go do it, because he's going to feel better. And hopefully the wife will look at him like, I think I want what you have, and I want to be on the same page. So I don't tell people, if you're not going to both do it, don't do it.
Well,
you might disagree with that.
Let me tell you what happens. No, I mean, I'll tell you.
Well, you see it from the other side. You see the woman first come in.
Well, this is what I see happening when the male wants to come first. Is he is hesitant to get his hormones optimized first, because already they have intimacy issues because she doesn't want sex. And that's a problem. Yeah. And he doesn't want it more when she's down here. Sure. Now, kind of the fallacy about that thinking is, whereas testosterone optimization in women does drive libido up really from 0 to hero, men, there's not that much of a gap between desire. Like they're kind of already here. I always tell women, and I tell guys too, I'm like, look, this shouldn't make you all, chasing your wife around, but it will her. when she gets her testosterone levels up, she's like, come on, baby, give it, it's like, it's true. And we see this all the time. So I prefer couples do it together. Now, what ends up happening is most of the time the woman is coming in to me first. And if they've declined in their hormones together, I'm going to use sex as an example because sexual intimacy is such an important conversation in relationships. It's not talked about enough. And what happens is as couples' hormones decline, the stress of having kids and just life and everything else, they both are losing desire typically on the same pathway. So it kind of works. I mean, they're like, we both kind of just want to have sex once or twice a month on a good month, right? And so, but she comes in and get her hormones optimized, and now she's here. And it's glaringly obvious, like she's ready to, like you said, take on the world and got all this energy. And she certainly has a sex drive. And he's like, yay, I like this chick, but I need some help to get up here with you, literally and figuratively. So I think that's what typically happens. And then the wife is now the next visit or two kind of dragging the husband in. And usually I have to have a conversation and not make it about, sexual function and make it about energy and libido. But that is, I prefer couples get their hormones together, but in some cases, I have a lot of patients that it's just the husband gets it because he was the one she was fine and he's the one that was solo. So it is important though I think to do this thing together because the relationship piece, and I know, you've had stories of people that you've met and talked to that relationships were restored with hormones. And I have story after story of relationships, not only just from the intimacy level, but, for women, when we go through hormone changes, we have a lot of hormones we're dealing with. Men is primarily testosterone, which converts a little bit to estrogen, which is important. But we've got testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, they all work together. And the big thing for us, especially in our 40s, is moods because our testosterone's low, our progesterone's low, but our estrogen's high, and we get really moody. And so now we're really moody and we don't want to have sex. I tell women that's like a double whammy for a relationship. Guys can handle one or the other. I can handle you being cranky and moody as long as we're having sex, but both of those together, it's kind of a deal breaker. And we've seen relationships on the brink of divorce and separation oftentimes.
A lot of times.
And that be a real problem. What else do you want to say about that? We've talked about men. I think this was a good conversation. Yeah,
I think a lot of times guys get, I don't want to say overlooked because, the kind of the low T type of talk has been out for, the last decade or so. So more people are aware of that. But predominantly when you first start talking to the average person about hormones, they think about women, they think about menopause.
Menopause.
They think about hot flashes, and that's all that and that's honestly what the doctors and practitioners are taught in medical school. That's about all you need it for, right?
100%. So, I was going to say something about that.
What we have been really focused on is letting people know that no, there is so much more functionality. Right. I mean, you say it very well in your lectures. There's hormone receptors on almost every cell in every system of your body. So if that's the case, that's logic drives you to go, well, we need it then, right? And but guys get a lot of times overlooked from a standpoint of, well, you don't need to have your hormones optimized. I'm telling you, guys, you go through life with your hormones optimized, you're living a completely different life than going without. Is completely different life. And I encourage, and my friends, I'm not, again, I started with this a while ago in this conversation. I'm not the pushy guy that's trying to, get you to, get Avexipel. But inevitably, they come back to me and they say, why didn't you try to get me to do this a lot sooner? And I'm not going to force this on you. Yeah. But a lot of them will say this, and I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. I didn't know how bad I really felt until I felt good again. That I could put that in a book. I could put it on a wall. I could put it on a poster. It is so true. And because your decline is so gradual. And guys, we're not as in tune to our bodies as females are. Females are just like, oh, I think this happened, or I think I feel this, or my stomach feels like that, or my head feels like this. Yeah. You happen to be one.
I happen to be one. And we have daughters.
Yes.
And a bonus daughter or daughter-in-law. So there's
yes,
6.
Yes,
adults.
bonus daughter-in-law. So we know that whole scene.
Yeah.
But guys are just kind of like, I don't know. I guess I feel about the same as I felt yesterday.
Yeah.
But then
you just deal with it.
Yeah. But once you get back to where you really are supposed to be, I'm telling you, lights are on. It's like the dim bulb in the corner gets the light just kind of turned on, and now it's just shining. So completely different.
And it can be your comeback story.
Your comeback story.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Always
and
enjoy
out.
coming by and saying hey to you.
It's one of the only times I really get to see you during the day.
All right. Good to be here.
Good to see you. See you later.
All right. Thanks.